West Bend, I was going to say country club. Wow.
Are you having an adult beverage like ours?
West Bend Community Memorial Library Board for Tuesday, January 18th. Can we stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Only if you do.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'd like to call for a consent agenda for the library board meeting minutes from November 16th and also the library expenditures for both November 2021 and December 2021.
I make the motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Joseph,
Yes.
expense or financial report.
Yeah, so we got some donations over the last 2 months, and just 2 checks went out, so nothing too exciting. And then, as always, a little bit of interest.
Joseph, when we get those checks, do we send a thank you?
Yes.
Steve?
Yep.
Okay.
Every donation we get gets a thank you.
Yeah, I thought we did, but I just wanted to verify that. Yeah, we had some nice donations in the last 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything regarding the finances? Anybody have any questions? No. Ooh, we want to try and break our record. Meeting.
I did all that work for nothing. I looked at all the finances myself and said, what are these things to my people? And all right.
Awesome.
Okay, if nothing else, do we have any public comment?
Did you want to make a comment?
No public comment.
No, we're good.
We're good? Library director's report, Steve?
I did send out a little bit that you might have not gotten in time for the meeting from Terica for the last 2 months, a report. And the 8OI's State of the Collection report, which our goal is to try to get our numbers up to 5 is the highest level for each of the areas there. So we're not quite there in a couple areas, but we're doing all right. The change of, we don't worry about the change on the far left side on that report very much because it varies from month to month and we're still getting our data corrected and such. So, but our goal is to get to 5. So it looks like we're doing all right, and we are going to do some significant weeding in the near future. I was shared the list of fiction titles that can be weeded, and there's a big chunk that can go there. We're going to look at nonfiction again and see what we've got there as well. So that will help both the turnover and the relevance significantly in the upcoming weeks. I'm going to share a little, just quickly, I'm going to share a little screenshot, I think I'm going to share it. There we are.
Yes, I did.
So here's our counter for our people coming into the library, and I'm just going to go look at November because it was a more typical month. Oh, I didn't do November, I did January, it looks like.
I think it's correct, it's just not
Okay,
showing.
yeah. Let's see what happens if I... So that was the 7th through the 21st. And let's see if it works for me. If it doesn't work, we will just skip it. Oh, there it is. It does work, I just have to scroll up. So this is a count of people coming into the library, I think I set it at. Yeah, traffic ins. And we can quickly change it to, I'm gonna move, I gotta move this over. You can't see this online, but I'm gonna do that. So these are people aren't coming into the library very often at 7 o'clock, between 7 and 8 o'clock p.m. For those dates that I selected. And you can see that our highest points are there. We can just flip to when people leave the library. Which should look very similar. So I wanted to bring this up as this is something that we use to consider our library hours, and you can see that there's still people leaving the library between 8 and 9 p.m. And this is just 1 month and tells me how many counts it has for each of these blocks. So 19.5 people left, 12.75, 18.25.
But wouldn't it depend on how long a program would last?
This is just typical library in and out use. So if we do have a program that night, it's going to be, there'll be more people at the end of the day. But we can typically see that this Tuesday nights are busy. I think this is when we have story time, story programs. Wednesday mornings we have story programs. And then we did see a change from this color of 11, greater than 11 up to the next level. I think it was up to 21 when we started introducing Coffee Fridays. So I just want you to be aware of the tool that we have and we're using to look at what our services are and when we're most busy. And just because it's light doesn't mean that there's not a lot of people there, but it gives you an idea of when the most people are coming to the library. We can look at how many people, and when we talked about kicking around library hours, I say, well, if we close an hour earlier, there would typically be 12 people that would be upset with us because they leave that time. And that's a lot of people. That's significant over the course of a week. So that's 48 people. It might be the same 12 people every day,
Sure.
but probably not likely. So
I think this would be good though for you for purposes of staffing, because you can identify when you need more people probably too.
that's true, and we are considering different staffing options because we are struggling, like everybody is, to find quality people, and we're going to be looking at different ways of working our organization chart and staffing in the near future, I think. So, and how do we track?
And interestingly enough, Saturdays look pretty busy.
Saturdays are very busy, especially as you get to that time when we're about to close.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a lot of things to think about yet. Changing hours is a very challenging thing for our library staff because we do have, we promised our team a certain number of hours in a week, and we want to respect that. We don't want to be changing hours and giving people less hours than what they signed on for, or asking them to do more hours than they signed on for unless they agree to that. So it's very challenging to change that. And our structure is really set at about a 4.5 hour intervals for all of our part-time staff. So.
But I think this is a great tool for you to use.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. And we can also differentiate who's going downstairs and who's upstairs. And I'm not exactly sure. Let me just do this. This was November again. I believe the second room is the downstairs counts.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's
That's the second floor, not the second room.
no, that's the rec department, I believe.
Oh, that is the rec area?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're coming in, and this was in November. They were coming in mostly on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for rec programs. So it counts there might be some false positives here, I guess, because it'll count people going the direction of that door. So you might, well, the weird one is at 8 o'clock, might also be our cleaning person. But it does give you an idea of when the rec area is being used on those days, or certain days, so we can differentiate that between that and our library. Now the scale is different, so the colors aren't the same when I put them both together as they are here. So just because it's red doesn't mean everybody's going to the rec department. That's just because we looked at the different areas. So, and it will also tell us, if we want to, how many children and how many adults based on height. So it could be a little bit off because some adults might be shorter and some children might be taller. But I just wanted to share that with you, so I'm going to stop sharing that now. To show you the neat tool that we had.
That's great.
And then I did I finished a grant on Friday for the solar panels. We'll see if, I think the results of that come out in February or March. So we might get some money from the federal program for the solar panels. So we'll see how that goes. And I don't have anything else to share at this time.
Does anybody have any questions for Steve? Wow. Okay, we'll move on to the Library Board Director's Report. I actually do have something on the report. I would like to congratulate Steve. He's coming up to his 1-year anniversary, believe it or not.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks.
Nice.
I made it
Thank you for
this
your
long.
service so far. We haven't chased you off yet.
I'm still enjoying it.
Sure. That is it for me. The next thing would be agenda items for consideration. Is there anything anyone would like to talk about?
I wanted
This is
to.
kind of a free month.
I wanted
ahead,
to
Joe.
bring up the possibility of getting a external hard drive for the treasurer position. Because right now everything's just stored on my computer,
Yeah.
and I was
That's
like,
a
you
good
know,
idea.
it would probably be good to have this, so that way if we were to switch people, then we could just transfer it to the next person.
I can provide that for you. We'll
Okay,
do
well
that.
that works.
What did you say, Steve?
I have external hard drive we can provide.
Oh,
That's
anything else anyone wants to consider? This is January usually is kind of, last January we were in the process of hiring a new director, so it was kind of lot to do. This one has been kind of a nice one, but I don't want the board to think that we'll get into this lull always. Brett, do you have anything to say from the city?
No, other than, again, it's time that we're preparing for elections. You know, April is the spring election, and as of right now, I'm running unopposed. So I'm hoping to be back here at the library board once I win re-election. So
We're hoping to.
Brett, they were changing some of the polling stations. Is the library still going to be the polling station?
I believe so. The only one that I think was being changed was the one for District 8.
My district.
Right, moving to the Masonic Lodge rather than,
Cedar
what was it?
Community? Or
Cedar Ridge.
Cedar Ridge.
Cedar Ridge, yes.
Cedar Ridge.
So, yeah, so there were some
Yeah,
issues
that's a good
there, so
Very
that's the only one that's changed.
Right now, it's a good
Yeah,
idea.
that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the administrative, they worked out a new arrangement with the Masonic Lodge. There's a pretty big parking lot there, so traffic shouldn't be a problem.
Yep.
They're gonna reevaluate for the November election, because those are usually larger numbers. You know, we'll gauge what happens in the spring and see if that'll be feasible for a larger election and see what happens there. But as far as things go right now, that's the only move.
Okay, good. If there's nothing else, our next meeting will be February 15th. And I don't think we have any tasks, do we?
Just Steve getting that hard drive
And I will have an annual report for that meeting, so you're all aware that that's gonna be done by then.
Tuesday will be the annual, next February, yeah, is the annual report. That's always the big one.
And I'll spend some money.
Well, if nothing else, we are adjourned.
Cindy's got it
Nice
easy
job.
today.